ABBA, one of the most influential pop groups of all time, disappeared from the spotlight in the early 1980s without ever officially announcing a breakup. For decades, fans hoped for a reunion. Rumors came and went. Huge financial offers were declined. Public appearances were rare. Silence became the norm. But in 2021, after nearly 40 years, ABBA shocked the world with the announcement of Voyage, a new album and a groundbreaking virtual concert project. What few people know is how close this reunion came to never happening, and the complex reasons why. By 1982, the group had already begun to drift apart. Personal relationships had fractured. Agnetha Faltskog and Bjorn Ulvaeus divorced in 1980, followed by Benny Andersson and Anni-Frid Lyngstad in 1981. Though the members remained professional, emotional fatigue was mounting. The sessions for their final album, The Visitors, were tense. It reflected themes of isolation, surveillance, and political uncertainty, a sharp contrast from the buoyant energy that had defined their earlier work. Following the album's release, ABBA never formally disbanded. Instead, they simply stopped recording. There were no dramatic press releases or farewell tours. All four members focused on solo careers and other projects. Andersson and Ulvaeus moved into musical theater, producing Chess and later working on Mamma Mia. Lyngstad and Faltskog released solo albums, but gradually retreated from the public eye. Years passed, and the idea of a reunion seemed increasingly unlikely. In the 1990s and early 2000s, ABBA's legacy experienced a resurgence. The release of ABBA Gold in 1992 brought their music to new audiences. The musical Mamma Mia, launched in 1999, followed by a blockbuster film adaptation in 2008. Offers for reunions followed, some reportedly in the hundreds of millions of dollars, but were declined. The band was clear. They had no intention of returning. One of the key obstacles was Agnetha Faltskog. After years of intense media scrutiny and personal challenges, including a fear of flying and long-standing anxiety about public exposure, she was reluctant to re-enter the spotlight. Any reunion would require her full participation, and she had distanced herself from the music industry for years. Another issue was the group's insistence on control over their image. Unlike many legacy acts, ABBA was not interested in nostalgia tours or media spectacles that could distort their carefully crafted legacy. Then came the unexpected catalyst, technology. In the mid-2010s, Andersson and Ulvaeus began exploring digital avatar technology, creating fully lifelike virtual versions of ABBA as they looked in the late 1970s. Rather than returning physically, the group would perform digitally. This innovation offered a solution. It allowed ABBA to return to the stage without subjecting themselves to the demands of touring. More importantly, it created a space where Faltskog could participate on her own terms, avoiding the full weight of live performance and publicity. The project, however, was far from simple. Years of negotiations, creative debates, and technical experimentation followed. The group recorded new songs together in 2018. I Still Have Faith in You and Don't Shut Me Down. But even then, nothing was guaranteed. Each member retained the right to withdraw at any stage. The risk of failure was high, especially with expectations magnified by decades of absence. For the reunion to move forward, all four members had to agree not only on the music, but on the vision of Voyage as a concept. It was not just an album or a tour. It was an entirely new form of artistic expression, combining digital performance, cinematic visuals, and state-of-the-art motion capture. If any member had pulled out, the entire project would have collapsed. The final push came when the digital concert venue, ABBA Arena, was constructed in London. At this point, the commitment was real. In September 2021, ABBA officially announced their return. The Voyage album was released in November, and the digital concert began in 2022, featuring life-size avatars of the band, backed by a live band in a purpose-built venue. Behind the scenes, it was the alignment of creative control, technological innovation, and personal readiness that made it possible. Without these factors, the reunion would have remained an unfulfilled fantasy. ABBA's return was not a simple comeback. It was a carefully negotiated balance between legacy, identity, and innovation. The world came close to never seeing it happen, not because the music wasn't there, but because the conditions had never been right. Only after decades of silence, after rejecting fame on traditional terms, and only with a new format that protected their values, did ABBA agree to reunite. And even then, it almost didn't happen